I met Thomas Thompson 25 years ago in the basement of a church in Bloomington, Indiana. We were drinking tea and talking about Buddhism, and we never stopped. Over the years, Thomas has walked a path that blends presence, inquiry, devotion, and deep service to others. He has been a student of Thich Nhat Hanh, a deacon of the Church of Christ, and a living example of perseverance and spiritual integration. I hope this conversation invites you into the deep, grounded wisdom that Thomas carries so effortlessly. Thomas,
Yes.
I'm so glad you could be with us today.
And so am I.
Thank you. I know you've had a long and varied and serious and interesting spiritual background. And I think a lot of what you have experienced and what you know will be important to those who are looking in conjunction with what we're calling the unified path, which is to say a holistic view of oneself and one's spiritual life, body, mind, heart, and soul, as we say.
Aye.
But let's go back a little. I first got to know you when you were running something called the Zen Tea Room, which was an occasion for anyone to stop by and talk about things that mattered. How did that come about?
I was meditating, and in a Christian building of some sort, and one of the members of the Unity was the name of their faith. One of the ministers came and sat with me while I was meditating and said, "Could I ask you some questions?" And I said, "Sure." And somebody else came and said, "I'd like to ask you questions too." And so my silent meditation became more audible in public. And then you and Larry came.
Right.
That's how it started.
But this was part of your own spiritual practice that you had been doing for a long time. Is that?
Yes.
Can you take us back and tell us what that was and how that started?
How did my practice begin?
You sit in Zen.
Yes.
In Zazen.
I started sitting after I got out of the military. I started sitting and telling everyone I was a Zen Buddhist student. Eventually, I was able to get over that and actually start participating in Zen Buddhist students. I started actually sitting, which is way better than talking about it. Yes.
Yes, and I think that's one of the things that struck me about you that maybe you could tell us a little bit more about, is that you don't settle for conceptual answers.
No. Not conceptual answers, not theological answers or questions. Theological questions leads to talking about God. And I don't see the point. Sitting is the practice of unity, uniting, reunification. Talking about God is necessary when I have students.
Well, is that talking in any way helpful in encouraging a practice like sitting?
For me or them?
Well, that's the question, I suppose. I gather not for you.
I always return to the silence and am more appreciative of it after a conversation. It doesn't help them, I have no idea. It would be nice.
Well, I know experience in practice means a lot to you, and you've had a lot of very interesting life experiences. I know that you lost a leg in a motorcycle accident in 1964, I believe it was.
Yes, it was.
And how has that affected?
As far as my spirituality, I realized immediately I had more time to meditate, being a monoped. But actually, it didn't really have anything to do with my spirituality and with me. It had to do with loss of a part. I cut my fingernails, I get my hair cut, I've lost a leg. I'm still me.
Yes, that doesn't change.
God willing.
God willing. And I know part of your experience is you've had a very long marriage with Barbara.
Aye.
And that's certainly part of your spiritual life. And
Oh, my, yes. Oh, my, yes.
can you tell us more about that?
It taught me deep love. It introduced me to the concept of self-sacrifice, loving others, being of service, being patient. It taught me patience. And it gave me a relationship that allows me to sense God in the relationship by being in the relationship, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that's another example of being present and experiential
Aye.
rather than being conceptual and theoretical.
Goodness, yes. Well, like Richard Rohr said, that truth is experiential.
Yes, that's right. Back to talking about God for a moment.
Sure.
I know that one of the things you do is teach Sunday school, and that you're an elder in the Christian church.
Yeah, First Christian Church, yes.
How does that fit with the experiential part, or why is this teaching and talking important?
Sometimes the more I talk out loud, the more internal it becomes. And I have done studies in various religions, studies in my religion. So people ask me questions, and I thought, I'll teach Sunday school and just give them the information I have. And that seems to be working out by and large.
How that's because you have more questions, or?
Interesting. I have less questions. I have less answers, but I don't mind that. My students, and I have some students that I guide spiritually, but my students ask me questions, and I went, "Oh yes, I remember that." It has helped. Yes.
That's wonderful. I also note, and this is consistent with what you've said so far, that your spiritual teaching in the context of being a church elder and a Sunday school teacher is in a, I wouldn't call it non-denominational Christian church, but It's a very open Protestant
as
church.
open as I could find. My mother was a black belt Southern Baptist. She was firm in her faith and worked at firming up mine with hers. But I did learn about Christianity at my mother's knee, so it became part of me. It fit me after a while. I was always the kid that wants to rebel against the parents, so I was. But after a while, it fit me.
And that's part of what you have to share with those who come to you with questions, I'm sure.
Yes. Sure.
Very good. So I know that you sit in Zen, and that you teach Sunday school in this Christian church. What's the rest of your spiritual practice like? And again, I'm thinking of the unified path and the elements of body, mind, heart, and soul.
Music. I sing and practice. I play the guitar. Also, I do walking meditation, Kinhin, it's called. Walking meditation, which is good for me physically, certainly, and etc. But walking meditation, I am servicing, or I'm of service with others, if they need. And I've gotten people are starting to feel comfortable asking me questions. And I like that because it allows me to have a sense of intimacy with them. And that's divine as well.
Yes, and I'm sure that's very good for them also.
I don't know.
Well, I would think so. What else is nourishing your path?
Gracious, everything.
Everything.
What else is nourishing my path? Studies in my religion, studying other religions, nourishing my path. Reading, primarily meditation.
Well, let me ask you from a different angle.
Sure.
If you ever have moments of doubt or uncertainty, what do you return to?
The divine.
The divine.
The presence. What I am calling, and has been called before, panentheism.
Could you pull that apart for us a little?
Pan, all.
Right.
And in theism, God, all in God. The concept, it's similar to pantheism and not. Pantheism said everything is God, and God is everything. I agree, and there's somewhat more. Panentheism said God is in everything, and everything is of and within God, and yet the universe is in God, and yet God is not the universe, or God is more than the universe. Panentheism.
Yes, this is the oneness that includes everything.
Aye. I was talking to a student of mine, and he said, well, I believe in pantheism because it's about everything. It's the universe, and the universe is all there is. And I said, interesting take. We'll talk more. And we haven't talked more yet, but I will tomorrow.
So what other kinds of questions do students typically come to you with?
Oh, my.
Does it fit a certain
Everything from
category?
grade school to mature Christianity. Everything to, well, do you believe in God? How can I help my own faith develop? What's in it for me? Oh, and I told them, nothing.
That's the big nothing, right?
Well, Thomas Merton, one of my favorite quotes from Zen and the Birds of Appetite, he states, Zen enriches no one. And I'm a real fan of that statement.
Because that's who we all seek to be?
Well, a prayer of mine is, I pray you protect me in what I lack and save me from all that I think I know. And that's hard work. I'm a really opinionated, I believe, have always been, it seems. Ask anyone that knows me. Is he oh yeah. But I'm working to become less judgmental. Pope Francis said, who am I to say?
Right. Judgmentalism seems to be a fundamental flaw,
Oh my.
doesn't it?
I certainly hope it's fundamental. I've got it, and I don't want to be alone in it.
That is, after all, the sin that Adam and Eve lost paradise with.
And judgments are useful. It keeps me from standing in front of oncoming trucks. It's a good servant, but it's a very poor master.
The key is knowing when to apply it or where to apply it.
Or if.
Or if to apply it.
Aye.
Good distinction. So in general, for your students or for a young person who would come to you and say, I'm confused, I don't know where to start, I want more, I know there is more, I want things to be clearer or deeper or more experiential. What would you advise them, or how would you approach them?
They're already knowing more by asking to know more. And that they need to be open-minded, open heart. And they need to ask all the questions they think is necessary. And eventually that will peter out. But I tell them the path is a journey, very long, very long. And it's filled with moments of aha. It's also filled with years of doubt. So it's very long. All they have to do is don't quit. Don't be discouraged. Take heart.
Keep asking those questions.
Aye.
Right.
Until they don't need to, until they see how important the questions really are.
Well said. Well, are there any general principles other than that we would offer newcomers or those who seek more or higher or more existential?
One of the things I have to keep in mind, Zen Shunryu Suzuki Roshi wrote a book called Zen Mind, Beginner Mind. Concept being, don't forget the beginner mind. Because we can get so caught up in, everybody knows this, you know. And I said that one time, and they said, I don't think anyone knows that, Thomas. And I thought, oh, Zen mind, beginner mind. Start where in psychology, it's starting where the client is at. Bad grammar, but true story.
Right. And beginner's mind is a matter of openness and questioning, right?
It's a matter of opening, yes.
Uh-huh.
It's a process.
Well, you've had such a long and varied experience, and I know you were in the military.
Aye.
And you had done a lot of counseling, I believe.
Yes.
What general principles do you take from that are?
Can you say more?
Well, it's just some of these things seem so broad, yet I know you have a very clear focus on them. When you were doing counseling, for example, I know people would come to you with a wide variety of things, but you had a certain approach you would use to deal with it. Can you tell us
the
just
first
a
thing would
little
be
about
assessment. It's a general psychological term, assessment. Find out where the individual is on their path. And try and start there, because if the individual is here and I try and start here, they won't have any idea what I'm talking about. So if I start here and we go together, that's better.
Principle number one, meeting them where they are.
Yes, absolutely. And then encouraging them, answering their questions, keeping in mind beginner mind, and just asking them what they want more than anything. I made up
It's a good question.
I was counseling. I made up a group. I did intensive outpatient. I had between 12 and 25 or 30 individuals in a ring. 30 is much too much. But we would have Q&A. I would find out where they're coming from. That would help. And then start there. I would ask them, I wrote it down, the WDEP. I'd ask them, what do you want? And they would tell me, I want to stay stoned all the time. And I would say, why is that? They said, because I want to be high. I said, on life? They said, yes. I said, there are other ways. Well, but let me ask you, what are you doing? And they said, well, I'm incarcerated right now. And when I get out, I'll be wearing what I call legal jewelry. And I said, well, what's the effect of what you're doing on what you want? They said, well, I'm not able to do drugs because they're testing me all the time, so I can't be high on life. I said, so what you're doing has no effect on what you want. In fact, it's antithesis of what you want. So the P in WDEP is you need a new plan. And we talk about that.
And
baby steps.
And create a plan.
Aye.
Great.
And finally it's called an after plan, or after the client leaves the group. And I did some follow-up and so forth. But basically that would be it.
That's a pretty good approach.
Thank you.
Within that, were there any sources that you would typically refer to people to? I mean, you've mentioned Merton, and you mentioned Suzuki Roshi. Are there any other standard references that?
Richard Rohr is marvelous. He identifies himself as a mystic. I don't have any question. He identified me as a mystic when we were having lunch. He said, "You're a mystic," and I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "All mystics say that." So I like to think of it as I'm on a path that is mystical. Christianity is a mystical path. Right. I'm on a path that is mystical. It's a path.
Well, by definition, mysticism is the proposition that the divine can be known directly.
Yes.
Personally.
Unification.
Yes. And that's mysticism.
Well, and it's also meditation leads to that. So,
yes.
Rumi, to paraphrase Rumi, he would say, "Sit down and." And I thought, how perfect is that? Because Rumi also said that the language of God is silence. You know that. Everything else is poor interpretation. And whenever I'm in a conversation with some of my students, I'm thinking that very thing. But we start conversations with silence and then go into their questions.
So you always begin these with a few moments of
Oh,
silence.
absolutely.
Just simply silence or a guided
We
silence?
start with we start with simply silence. I tell them to focus on the space between thoughts and enlarge that. And I know I say it differently depending on who I'm talking with. And we sit there and get calm, relaxed, still. Get rid of slough off all those things we brought into the meditation room.
All those distractions.
Aye.
All the noise. And then you can actually begin interacting.
God willing, yes.
God willing. Well, thank you for taking all this time. I just like to finally ask if there's one thing or from all of your experience that you could offer or add or suggest, particularly to those who are interested or new or searching. That
Sit down, be quiet. I've even told one client, I said, one of my students, I said, sit down and shut up. We'll get back to you. And he said, how long do I have to be quiet? And I said, well, we haven't started yet, I see. A while. Let's do 10 minutes. It'll seem like 10 hours, but let's start with 10 minutes. He said, how long do you meditate? And I said, longer. I didn't want to tell him right up front because he would go, oh, no.
I'll never do that.
I don't have time for that. I've had people say, I don't have time for meditation. I said, what do you have time for? What are your priorities? What's first in your life? I hope it's you. And they go, well, I'm a busy person. And I said, great. That means you're active and seeking. And you can find some time in that busyness to sit down, be quiet.
Because it's for you.
And it'll encourage your busyness and allow that to run more smoothly because you're in touch with you.
Thomas, as you know, one of the 4 key elements of the unified path is the notion of heart, the devotional, the affective, the emotional side of oneself.
Okay.
And I know that one of the places in your heart is the long marriage you've had with Barbara.
40 years.
40 years now. Well, can you tell us a little about how that has informed your journey?
It's taught me a lot about service, a lot about self-sacrifice sounds so pompous. A lot about service, a lot about doing for others, a lot about seeing God in others. It's taught me a lot about patience. And again, the relationship that I have with my wife is very similar to, or reminds me of, is an imitation of my relationship with God, if that makes any sense.
Can you pull that apart a little for us?
Whenever I meet a stranger, I say to myself, here comes a child of God. That preps me to greet the individual differently than if I said, where's my wallet, and is he armed? I have a different approach to meeting him. Whenever I see Barbara, I say, this is a child of God. And we are united. And unity is very important. I mean, what a silly thing to say. Unity is it. Better. So my relationship with Barbara unifies me with Barbara, and that's a grand example of unification with God for me.
I think that's a wonderful explanation. I know that in the current era, marriages tend to be shorter.
Yes, I've heard that.
But what you've said really stands for a long, solid relationship.
Yes, well, in the 60s and the 70s, marriages where 1 out of every 2 are successful. I fear that may have gone down.
I suspect that it has.
And we have a shorter attention span. We have more things to do. We have scattered our focus. And in a relationship, focus is very important.
Well, it also is clear that you've gotten so much out of your relationship by keeping it up and tending to it and maintaining all of the aspects of it. You speak a lot about care and sacrifice, but that's something that you also get a lot.
It's self-sacrifice. I'm okay with that. I'm trying to get rid of what I think I am.
Always a good idea. Now, also, you've mentioned music, and I know you play the guitar and you sing, but that also must have a place in your spiritual life.
Oh, sure.
Because it's again that element of body, mind, heart, and soul, and music tends to address so many of those aspects.
Yes,
So-
I stumbled into a Stetson University auditorium that was filled with people and a bare stage. And then I saw this old man, there was a kitchen chair. And I saw this old man come out, almost dragging a guitar and carrying a footstool. Put the footstool down, put his foot on it, picked up the guitar, and all of a sudden it seemed like he had a radio because he couldn't do that much with 6 strings and 10 fingers. Andrés Segovia. And I thought, I got to do that.
This was Andrés Segovia?
It moved me too. It moved me emotionally. Yes. I'm not a fan of tears. My clients, when I would talk as an addictions therapist, and they'd start crying, and I would say, let me know when you're finished and we can go on, because it's not about tears. But Segovia was so stunning, I thought, I have to learn to do that.
And you saw this live?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Well, can you say a little about the importance of the live aspect of live music?
When I hit the guitar note, it's in the room. It's also, it comes from the back of the guitar into me. Already we're united in some sort of gateway. I look on the guitar and on music as the gateway to my soul. It's not my soul, but it certainly opens the door and gives me a mini aha moment.
Aha.
See?
Exactly. Do you find that with classical music or with pretty much anything that turns you?
I'm still looking deeply into rap. And we're not friends yet. But every other kind of, I was raised, my parents were Appalachian. I was raised on Appalachian music. I was introduced to classical music with one of my uncles who lauded it, and I respected my uncle. So I said, I should look into that as well. In the 60s, I found out that young women were attracted to guitarists, or young women were attracted to music. And I couldn't carry a piano, so I got a guitar and took it to parties, and it was a successful endeavor. But music is a language of its own, of course, as is art, as in waterfalls.
Of course.
It's a language of its own. And it puts me immediately in touch with my soul.
Yes, music certainly has that quality in general, and for many. But you actually play music.
Oh, yes.
And I think for many people, their relationship with music is that they hear it over some sort of mechanical, electronic means, rather than seeing it live or playing it live as you do.
I was playing music for a couple of friends of mine, and one of my friends said, wow, I've never seen live music before. And I thought, oh, que lastima, what a pity. And the difference is canned music, I can control it, put it on in time, and I can control how I'm going to feel. And I said, I'd like to feel this way, and put on Moody Blues or Beethoven. And live music takes me.
It's a wonderful distinction.
Yes, it's not about music, it is music. There's a difference.
Thomas, thank you for your time and having this wonderful conversation. I'm so glad that we're friends.
Oh,
and
yes, indeed.
So glad you're part of the Unified Path.
It's been my pleasure having this conversation. I don't have this kind of conversation as often as I would like. So it's been my pleasure, and always with you.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. I'd be interested in your observations and anything you'd like to add. please leave those in comments below. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, remember, body, mind, heart, soul, one.